speaking of evolution, we should maybe talk about the evolution of a wedding band.
Cool. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think the one thing that has really happened, and I think in the last 10 years, is, the bride has changed. And we say the bride of 2011 doesn't want what we call a fitted wedding band.
Why not?
Well, think about it. Our parents, Mrs. Cleaver, in the 50s.
In black and white.
In black and white in the 50s, they weren't as energetic. They weren't so, I don't want to say career orientated. I just think that, ladies have evolved, and what they need is their jewelry to evolve. And instead of having a fitted band, they want to have an option to wear a band when they're traveling. And you can't wear a fitted band. You can't wear it on its own. So I believe that, we make it, and if somebody wants to get one, we can sell it to them. But what we suggest is what we call a string of diamonds, or a complementary band. So a really cool string of diamonds that you can wear on its own. You can leave your bling at home, but still be, as we say, identify for being married when you're camping, when you're at the cottage. And that's a real important evolution.
That is very important. I agree.
And we call them string of diamonds because, we see a trend happening of girls wanting a thick band. But the one thing about a thick band is the thicker the band goes, the smaller your diamond looks. So I would rather do what we call twins, and that's have two thinner bands, one on each side. So what happens is you actually frame the ring. It makes your diamond look larger, and it balances. It's a really, really hot look.
All right, I like that. Well, see, back when I remember in the 80s, when I was just a kid and my dad first got the jewelry store, they used to sell the sets on a tray, and it was a tray of 3, and it was the engagement ring, her wedding band, and his wedding band.
Right.
And they would sell us this tray of 3, and that's all the way from the 50s. So for 30, 40 years they did this, and thank God it's finally changing.
Yeah, well, fashions change, trends change, and the cool thing is, like the evolution of people, we've changed. We still have our heirloom look, but let's just say the workingness of our rings has evolved. Speaking of that, in the last 5 years, Tacori has been making men's bands, and we talk about the Tacori girl, the Tacori girl, the Tacori girl. I'm a Tacori boy or a Tacori man. We call it a Tacori couple. I always say that when you get engaged, a girl, when she gets engaged, is getting married. When a guy gets engaged, he's getting engaged. It's like he hasn't even thought about the wedding. But a girl has thought about her wedding all the time. And there's going to be a huge list. Dude, you just got married a while ago.
About a month ago, yeah.
I got married a year and a half ago. And I just remember the list started here, and it just kept expanding. And what we want to get across is the flowers, unfortunately, die. The music stops. The food and the drinks are in your tummy. That big, beautiful white gown is in a box sitting up top.
She wore it once.
Yeah. But it was a great day that she wore it.
And she looked good in it.
And she looked great.
Right.
But the rings are forever.
That's true.
And I always think that when we get all excited about the engagement ring, and then we get tied up with the wedding, and we have a budget, and we don't budget enough for the rings. So what I suggest you do is, first and foremost, I think that you should, when you're buying the engagement ring, start to plan for the wedding bands, because the wedding bands are forever.
Right.
And I just think that a real cool trend that we see happening is you can actually, instead of registering for plates, why not register your bands? I'm sure your uncle would like to buy them for you, or maybe your parents want to buy you your wedding bands. I just think it's such a cool, beautiful thing. I know if my niece wants to get wedding bands, she's going to want to get wedding bands. That's something I would like to do instead of giving her cash. I would be like, sure, I would love to give them their wedding bands. That being said, Tacori makes incredible men's bands now. And what our men's bands are is a male version of Heirloom Timeless. So we detail just enough of what we call our Tacori touch, that it actually matches. The interface of our two rings, so the inside of our ring has what we call our sculpted crescent, and the sculpted crescent matches the complementary bands or the string of diamonds that we see. So how cool of a picture is that at your wedding day? When you look back at your photos, you have the matching rings. I don't think you should go out wearing matching Uggs or matching jackets.
Oh, why not?
Nah, just thinking, and the odd person does it, but I think it's very common for couples to wear matching watches as a brand. You know, they wear matching Cartier or matching Rolex.
Makes
so
sense.
why not do matching bands? I don't get the whole concept that a guy just wants something plain. They should get a cool, unique band.
Well, and something fun that you can wear every day. 'Cause I did the same thing. I went for like a 4-row eternity.
Yeah, I can
but
see it.
I
My
probably
eyes are
went a
getting
little
killed.
overboard. But at the same time, is you can kind of add a little bit to it. You can kind of make it your own, and you can maybe add a little string of diamonds in the men's band,
Right.
and not be totally over the top, and make it really nice and very timeless. You know.
And I think, you know, I'd rather be the guy like Daniel Craig in a cool James Bond tuxedo than the guy in the fun tuxedo.
Yeah, the blue.
Yeah.
The light powder blue.
Light powder blue with the ruffles. So
Right.
seriously, I mean, if you look at the trends of tuxedos, that you can always tell the dated of the decade that person wore that tuxedo. Same thing with men's bands. We just do enough of a twist on something that's not basic, but yet has a timeless feel. And it matches. I just think 25 years from now, my wife's going to have the matching ring as me. And that's cool, man.